Today I'm making up to do a show, also to host, so the makeup has to be strong, but not too strong.
So if you're actually on stage in front of like 3,000 people, being Jerry Spice Girl,
Yeah.
it would be stronger, different?
It would probably be quite a bit stronger, yeah. You'd have to define the eyes a lot more, and everything would have to be bolder, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, drag queens' makeup is a lot stronger anyway than obviously normal women, because you're changing your face from a man to a woman, so you need to highlight all the features and make them bigger than life, you know.
And you've just drawn in your eyebrows, but your own eyebrows are
They're underneath here, covered with plastic now, which opens your eyes.
Can you show us the plastic?
Yeah, this is it. Eyebrow plastic.
And that just rubs into your
You
eyebrows
just melt
and
that,
makes it...
and it's like wax. You put it on, covers them all up, saves you shaving them off or plucking them.
I wanted to ask you, do you call yourself a drag queen?
Well, I think all putting makeup on, dressing up is a form of drag, in a way. But even wearing a suit is a form of drag. But personally, I don't call myself a drag queen because I think drag queens, as such, take the mickey out of dressing up as women. They're basically a parody of women. Whereas what I do is try and compliment and impersonate them. So I look at myself more as a female impersonator.
Most of your work has been on the gay cabaret circuit. Are these venues a good place for trannies to visit?
I mean, I do work in a lot of gay venues and a lot of straight venues, so obviously I see both sides of how it is to socialise in those circles, and I guess it would be a lot easier for trannies to socialise in gay clubs, because they would look at you like you were a drag queen, not like you were a freak or you were something different. In a straight environment, people, I think, are more threatened by a man dressing up as a woman and are a lot less accepting. So you would probably get a lot more hassle in a straight club than in a gay club. Definitely.
Now you're using a white to give yourself like a white foundation around the eyes.
This is aqua colour, and basically it gets rid of all the bags and the blemishes, and it just highlights the middle of your eye, which brings it out further on stage, makes your eyes look wider.
And at the moment it looks quite bold, but is it going to stay that bold?
And it all gets powdered and blended down to give it a more natural effect.
Your main character has been Marilyn Monroe. Some people say that you're more like Marilyn than Marilyn herself. And more recently you've been doing Jerry Spice in The Way Out Spice Girls. What's the main difference between doing these two different types of impersonation?
Well, I mean, when you're playing different characters, you have to obviously pick out the physical differences, but they are actually very similar in some ways and very different. They're both quite sexy characters. They're both well-bosomed women, as we call it. But then again, they're completely different, because Marilyn is obviously dead, but she is the more glamorous of the two. And when you're portraying Marilyn on stage, you feel a sense of warmth and love coming from the audience. Whereas when you're in the Spice Girls, there are 5 of you on stage, so you feel everyone's screaming and shouting at you, you know, and going mad. Whereas when you're doing Marilyn, people are like looking like gazingly at you and lovingly, which is quite nice. Here we are doing the eyes. I'm just putting my sockets to see. Normally my socket is here. I'm raising it to here, so my whole eye is bigger. This is for stage, obviously. If you wore this in the street, it would look too much. You'd look like a monster, probably. So I'm recreating the whole shape of the eye. For me, I take this line down my nose, just to define the bone of the nose and to thin it slightly. I mean, you can do that for everyday makeup, just as long as you powder over it. It won't be that noticeable. And a lot of black girls do it because they have quite wide noses, so they tend to shade down the sides of their nose to make it look thinner. It gives you that plastic surgery nose look. When I'm doing ginger spice as well, I put a line across here, which gives you a little bubble on the end. I remember recently I took a tube train after one show with a friend in a full face of makeup because it was just the quickest way to get back into town, and we were running out of time. And we were getting on the train, and there was a little boy getting on the train with his father, and he turned around and said, "Oh, you're so beautiful," you know. And I don't think he realised if he knew whether or not I was a boy or a girl, but he didn't seem that he cared, you know. When you're larger than life, people will actually treat you larger than life, and they find that they want to know you because you are larger than life, which in a way is a bit of a misconception, because normally, you know, you're pretty normal, you have your own, you know, family, you have dogs and all that, but people treat you like you're something different, you know, something special. And I
have to live up to your makeup.
You do. You have to live up to it, and if you don't have the personality to go with it, I think most people find the personality while they're putting on their makeup. You know, they become somebody else, and that's the best thing about makeup, is that you can become anyone you want to. You know, I do all the time, from Marilyn Monroe to Madonna to Liza Minnelli to Jerry Spice. You know, you can be anyone you want, and that's not just being a girl, you can be a boy as well. You know, sometimes when I'm a boy I go out with a black wig on or a blonde wig on, depending on how I feel, because I'm sick of, you know, people treating me a certain way. When you're a blonde boy, you actually get treated like a bimbo, believe me. Alright, I'm just powdering down, which is very good for your face because it keeps the circulation in your face going, which you'll find helps keep you younger because you're exfoliating all the time, and your face needs circulating.
So how did you learn all these makeup techniques?
Trial and error, really. I think because I've been doing makeup for such a long time, with a boy and with a girl, you try things until you're happy with them. And
When
see
did you
what
start
suits
making
you.
up then?
When I was 6, when I was in pantomimes and theatre shows. They taught you to do your own makeup, and they would actually give you a drawing, a flat drawing of this colour here, this colour there, and you just have to learn to do it. You know, they'd show you the first couple of times, and then you'd have to learn to do it yourself. The first time I did woman's makeup, I actually did it in black and white.
In black and white?
Yeah.
Only using black and white powders?
Yeah, just to see which structures I could change and what, you know, to get the best results.
You recreate all sorts of characters with all sorts of images. Where do you actually get your clothes?
Well, I think the first thing anyone has to do is research what they're doing, whether you're doing characters like I do for Marilyn Monroe, or whether you just want to create yourself into a woman. I do buy some of my dresses and costumes, but most of them are made for me by different costume designers.
And if you were going to a function where you were going to be hosting, would you wear a stage costume, or have you got outfits which you would prefer for that kind of occasion?
Um, it depends on what I was invited to a place to do. I mean, I have been invited to host things as Marilyn Monroe before, so I tend to wear something that she would wear, obviously, but if they just want me to go dressed outrageously, then I would probably wear one of my big show costumes.
Trannies often say that they want to pass as a girl. Do you ever try and pass as a girl?
No. I mean, it's really strange because, you know, even when you wear this much makeup, people think you're a woman because they look at you, you look like you've got breasts, you've got a great figure, whatever, you know, you've got fabulous hair, it's a wig. But still, they'll come up to you and they'll think you're a woman. And I don't think that people should worry that much about it. I think passing is, if I wanted to pass, you know, it would have to be a lot more drastic. You would have to shave your eyebrows off because boys have different eyebrows to girls. You have a completely different structure naturally to a woman, and to change it just by a little bit of makeup is practically impossible unless you have a very, very feminine face. I myself have quite a rounded face, which helps a lot when you do makeup. If your features are too strong, if you have a big nose or a long chin, then it's more difficult to pass as a woman. But I wouldn't worry about passing as a woman. I think that however good any drag queen is, that people always know.
So is this the final touch now, lips?
Almost. Well, for the face, I guess. It depends on what I'm doing, but lips are probably one of the most important parts of the face, and depending on what character I'm doing, I change the shape of them. I can make them more square, more fuller for Marilyn. And I think that a good tip for women is don't be afraid to draw above or around your own lip lines, because I mean, my lips are an average size, but normally when I'm dressed, they look a lot bigger than they are. And no one ever says, oh my God, your lips are halfway down your chin or anything, because they don't see how it's done. And basically you start by using a dark pencil to line them. You wouldn't use a brown one for natural makeup, but this is for stage, so it gets blended in. Once you have the outline, you then have to fill it in. Then use a brush when you do your lips. And just paint straight over the line you've drawn. And you see that's changed the shape of my lips completely, from the average size to a much bigger mouth. And when you're on stage, people don't see where your own lips are. Or even in a club situation, they just see the shape of your mouth. Let's see how we look with some hair, shall we? Okay. Now, I normally go blonde because I prefer being blonde, but and this is very blonde. I call this my Pamela Anderson look.
Have you got any tips about buying wigs and styling wigs?
Always get a professional hairdresser to do your hair. Do not try and cut a wig yourself. Do never put your wigs in washing machines because it doesn't work. And you'll find that if you get a professional hairdresser to cut the wig into your face, it will suit you a lot better. You'll feel more confident in it. This is my Pamela Anderson look, and I think she'll do for tonight.
You look absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. All I need now is a red swimsuit.